The sport is furnished by Genuine. Padres make a move, sign Michael King to a 3-year, $75 million contract.
Can you repeat that?
To come back to San Diego. Yes, Michael King, 3-year, $75 million contract, but each year has player opt-out, so it really is essentially a 1-year, $25 million deal. Thursday Night Football produced a thriller. Rams lose in overtime. Sam Darnold hits the game-winning 2-point conversion to win 38-37. Seahawks have the inside track to the 1 seed in the NFC, and the college football playoff gets going tonight. Alabama in Oklahoma taking on the Sooners. That game is going at 5 o'clock. OU is currently a 1.5-point favorite. The support has been furnished by Genuine.
Like other guys.
Where are we going in sports?
Sound off like you got a pair.
A classic in the Pacific Northwest.
That Shaheed steps up the field at the 42. Middle of the field, breaks a tackle 30, down the left sideline, 20, touchdown Rashid Shaheed.
They signed up for more than 60.
Darnold has time, looks inside, it's caught! Touchdown! Make an extra point, make a conversion, I don't care what it is. The Seahawks win the game again on the last play of the game.
The Seahawks take control of the division and the conference. What does the rest of the NFL weekend look like? Speaking of the postseason,
Playoffs?
the college football playoff kicks off tonight. Could JMU or Tulane play Cinderella?
Would we allow the winner of the AAA baseball league, would you let them in the World Series playoffs? That's the equivalent of what we do when JMU gets in to the college football playoff and Notre Dame doesn't.
And Kyron Williams, more than 71.5 rush and receiving yards.
That's great.
Sam Darnold, more than 224.5 pass yards.
They're sounding great.
Keontae George, guard for the Utah Jazz, against my Los Angeles Lakers tonight. More than 27 points, averaging 30 against them this season.
Finally! It's perfect! I won't have to change this at all!
The weekend starts now from the studios of San Diego Sports 760 inside the Fletch Zone.
In the words of Ricky Bobby, every once in a while you just wake up and you feel great and you piss excellence, and that's what Sammy Long is doing right now, baby.
Hot streak.
How about San Diego Sports 760 Zone? Sammy Long winning back-to-back days on long shots, getting us all some money. Coming up at 12:45, we'll see if we can turn that 2-streak into a 3-streak. Here's we head into a ridiculously busy sports weekend. My God, we got college football playing kicking off tonight. We got Jake Paul in a massive, real fight against Anthony Joshua tonight. College football playoff continues tomorrow. NFL is tomorrow. San Diego State taking on the number 1 team in the country, the Arizona Wildcats, tomorrow. We have a very, very busy weekend, and we have a very limited amount of time to get to it all. So let's get started right away. We are going to get to the big 3 pretty quickly here so we can get into some of the NFL news and notes as well as college football. But, Sammy, we do need to start exactly where your update started. Padres spent some money. Offseason that we did not have in mind was the Padres shelling out $75 million to bring Michael King back to the team. Now, Michael King was injured for the majority of last season. When he was playing, he played well. Michael King, over the last 2 years, has had some really, really nice starts for the San Diego Padres. In fact, I think you could argue 2 years ago, Michael King was the ace of the San Diego Padres. So heading into last year, we were expecting big things. He started the season as the ace once again, was injured throughout most of last season. And so the Padres doing this, like Sammy said in his update, essentially a 1-year, $25 million deal, could be a 3-year, $75 million deal. But this is another prove-it opportunity for Michael King, who has this year to essentially show every team in Major League Baseball that he's going to be worth a 6, 7, 8-year contract when he gets freed up again. I was not expecting this. I'll be honest, I was expecting Michael King to be pitching elsewhere. I think that the Padres give this contract to Michael King, not to be the Debbie Downer in the room, because they know come a week from now, 2 weeks from now, before spring training, Nick Pivetta is on the trade block and will be moved. I think this actually frees the Padres up to make that move a little bit. There are still massive questions with this starting rotation, but we'll see what goes down here. But Sammy, I'll be honest, I did not expect Michael King to get signed.
No, it's a big move for the Padres because, like, let's just all be frank. If the rotation 2 days ago, if they went in the season with that rotation, they weren't making the playoffs. Like, it's a fact. Like,
you don't have faith in Joe Musgrove and Randy Vasquez?
I have faith in Joe Musgrove's potential to come in the playoffs and be a big time performer, but relying on a guy who's coming off a massive surgery to be your number 2 starter at the time is not. you don't want to have Joe Musgrove having a heavy workload. You want to bring him along slowly, get to the postseason, and then all of a sudden, best case scenario, you have ace Joe Musgrove as a nasty number 2 or 3 starter in your rotation. Massive to bring Michael King back. He really feels like hasn't even probably reached his full potential with a lot of the injuries he faced last year. But now you look at the rotation. To everything you just mentioned, Nick Pivetta, we'll see. The rumors have been kind of flying around whether he's going to stay. Is this just BS trade rumors? Kind of AJ Preller throwing stuff out there. But as of right now, you have Nick Pivetta, you have Michael King, and then if we're all assuming that Joe Musgrove gets to that point, then you're in a best case scenario, you have 3 legit starters to go into a postseason with. Now, obviously a super long season, lots to go on. We're hoping no injuries happen, but big move by the Padres. And can we just all give a hand to AJ Preller? Because AJ Preller gets a lot of flack, I think, sometimes because people look at the Juan Soto trade and look what the Nationals have. And I think at times people get frustrated with the Padres' lack of spending and aim it at AJ Preller. The only reason Nick Pivetta and Michael King are here is because he found a way to work out these contracts to where they essentially are 1 to 2 year deals. In Nick Pivetta's case, essentially a 2-year contract. It was a 4-year contract in total, but with opt-outs. Now Michael King, basically a 1-year deal every year with a player opt-out. These deals don't happen if AJ Preller is not able to convince these players to take these deals. I think AJ Preller deserves a big congrats today.
Maybe I'm drinking the Kool-Aid, but I'm kind of with you, Sammy. I like what AJ Preller has done over the last few years. Now, I think I would like it more if he had a contract, but regardless of that, we'll see what happens. This was a big move for the Padres to get done, and I think there's some kudos to be had by ownership for spending the money, by AJ Preller for getting this contract done, and we'll see how it works out in 2025, 26. I guess 2026, 27. Now, I think that the starting rotation, as we look at it right now, Joe Musgrove is in it. And look, all the way back in 2017, Joe Musgrove pitched 38 games. In 2021, 32. 2022, he pitched 30. 23 and 24, 17 and 19 games. Where would we be setting the line right now for Joe Musgrove? It's way too early, but where would we be setting the line for games pitched in 2026 for Joe Musgrove?
Well, ideally, it would be.
Is he pitching 20 games is my question.
Ideally, it would be under. The ideal situation, this is a dream scenario for everyone in San Diego, is the starting pitching rotation between Pivetta and King, and we'll see if they're able to add anyone else. Maybe there's someone coming up through the farm system, takes you to the postseason. Musgrove basically doesn't really get going until July, and kind of do what the Dodgers did last year. People forget the Dodgers rotation was abysmal halfway through the year. In July and August, people up in LA were pissed off at how bad this rotation was. Really what Dave Roberts and company were doing was basically putting Blake Snell and all these guys on the shelf and letting them get ready for the postseason, and we all know what happened. So ideally, Joe Musgrove is not pitching that much in the regular season, despite the fact that we would all love to see him. And he's geared up for a playoff run because we know Joe Musgrove's been in the playoffs. He's experienced, and that's a guy I think you can hand the ball to in a big deciding game and feel pretty confident about your chances in that game.
All right, well, we got a lot of stuff going on today. I'm going to say the line is at 20, and I would agree with Sammy that we would like it to be under that. All right, let's get to the big 3 here of our number 1, where Sammy Long rips through some headlines in the world of sports. We react to them, have a little bit of fun. If you want to watch the show, a couple ways for you to do it: on YouTube at San Diego Sports 760, on X or Twitter at Fletch and Sammy. Find us there. Our buddy Tyler already on YouTube celebrating a big long shots win from yesterday. Sammy, let's get to the big 3 of our 1. Go ahead, smash it.
Your lunch break is here. Ready to go back to the office and knock the socks off your friends? Coworkers? It's time for the top stories of the day. The Big 3.
All right, Sammy, where are we heading?
Did you agree with the decision to go for the 2-point conversion?
Which one? The one that was a backwards pass, or the one?
No, the one that ended the game. Because there was a decision on the broadcast of, do you kick it? Do you, considering you're at home, that's traditional thinking that you would just kick it and kind of keep playing, or did you obviously it ended up well for the Seahawks? Did you like them going for 2 in that scenario? I
think you had to go for it. What, 3 minutes left on the clock? A tie does nothing for you. You had to go for it. And credit to the Seattle Seahawks. I think that in the booth, they were talking about it, and Al Michaels was saying you essentially have to have the best play call you've ever had in your life here on this 2-point conversion in order to make it work. And they did. The guy ended up wide open for the touchdown or the 2-point conversion. So I give a lot of credit to the Seattle Seahawks. I thought they coached it perfectly. I would have done the same thing. because you think about where you are on the other side of it. Say this game ends in a tie, or say the Rams get the ball back and go down and kick a field goal to win the game. The Seahawks are in no better position than they were to start the game. And it would be equal to as if it was a tie. But you go for the win in that situation, clinch yourself a playoff spot. Now you have the tiebreaker over the Rams. And if you win out the rest of your games, you are the 1 seed in the NFC. So I think with all that on the line, the Seahawks had to make that decision. Now, at some point today, we're going to have to talk about the 2-point conversion that went backwards. What the hell
that
was that?
Insane.
I've never seen anything like that.
But to have the flip around in that game it was over. They had a 1.2% chance to win the game after Darnold threw the interception in the red zone. To answer the question that I asked, yes, you had to go for 2. I get the traditional thinking of that. Hey, you're at home, play, but look at momentum. They had all the momentum. The Rams were completely on their heels. The defense looked awful. Why would you give the ball back to Stafford, who had over 300 and
it was over 400
yards passing? They were moving the ball at will. So the chances of you even getting a tie out of that, they probably go down and kick a field goal and win it. But as a follow-up question, A, did Sam Darnold silence the doubters? And number 2, should Kevin O'Connell be on the hot seat for letting him out of Minnesota?
I think that was KOC's decision.
I don't know. Is it?
Obviously, a lot of decisions get made in NFL front offices. Sometimes the head coach is super involved. Sometimes he's not. If this was Kevin O'Connell's decision, if Kevin O'Connell went to the brass and said, I got a lot of faith in J.J. McCarthy and we'll just be fine without that guy, Sam Darnold, yes, he should be on the hot seat. But here's the thing. Sam Darnold, to answer your first question, absolutely silenced some people yesterday, because what's been the question about Sam Darnold? Where does he go in the fourth quarter of a huge
Can't
game?
win a big game.
He was incredible in the fourth quarter of a huge game, mounting a massive comeback against the best team in the NFC all year. Did it on his home turf in front of one of the loudest crowds we've seen all year. I give Sam Darnold all the credit in the world for what happened last night. And look, it's not like the Seahawks defense, which has been really good all year, was stopping the Rams at all. That was an offensive comeback led by Sam Darnold and Jackson Smith and Jigba, and it was fantastic to watch. It really was one of the more entertaining games of the entire season.
Oh, certainly. The last time was about Sam Darnold. In Sam Darnold, it was cool to see him finally
interceptions, but
yeah, but I think the fact that he did play so bad. We were going to come on here if you would have stopped the game after the third quarter, and again, you can't do that. But everyone was going to come on today and go, Sam Darnold's a choke artist, and Sam Darnold is the reason why people don't believe in the Seahawks, and he completely flipped that script. Now, am I ready to say the Seahawks are above the Rams? Absolutely not. Looking at that game, the fact that the Seahawks defense, which is their calling card with Mike McDonald and those blitz packages, really got ate up all game, and were fortunate that in credit to them, that they held the Rams to red zone stops to 3 points.
Without Devontae Adams. That game is so different if Devontae Adams is playing.
And at home. So it was a massive game for the Seahawks. It was a culture-building win. It was nice to see Sam Darnold finally get over that hump. But no, am I ready to sit here and say the Seahawks are better than the Rams in the postseason? No.
Can I call a quick timeout here? Just a little umbrage I have with something you said earlier, Sammy, and something CJ Big Voice Guy said.
Oh, here we go.
Inside track to the NFC?
Because no one believes in your Niners, Fletch, except you.
Okay, but do we all understand what's happening here? Because if the Niners win on Monday night against the Colts, so that's an if. The Colts played really well last week against the Seahawks. Home against the Bears. Home against the Seahawks.
You say that like it's an easy thing.
No, I'm not. I'm not. Home against the Bears. Home against the Seahawks. Home throughout the entire playoffs. And the Super Bowl. Are we really just sitting here saying inside track goes to the Seahawks?
Well, right now they have the inside track because if they win out, they will get it.
But if the Niners win out, they will get it.
Yeah. See,
it's the same.
Just
so they
calm down over there.
Tracks. I don't know
if your Niners somehow get this, then we will give them credit. I actually hope the Niners get it because it'd be funnier to watch them be the 1 seed and fall apart in the second round.
Inside track doesn't make sense when they still have to go on the road.
Are you okay?
Against another team who also has an inside track.
Let's get to this weekend. Trevor Lawrence playing the Broncos, Herbert playing the Cowboys. Ooh. Both quarterbacks have kind of feel like they're on similar trajectories in terms of both had really good kind of debut seasons, rookie years, then kind of went in the tank a little bit, and have both kind of come out of it and been big time players this year. Who is under more pressure to go farther in the playoffs this year?
Justin Herbert. Justin Herbert is, because Justin Herbert has been elevated above Trevor Lawrence. Now, Trevor Lawrence has the harder matchup this weekend. If Justin Herbert doesn't beat the Cowboys, even though they're in Jerry's world, that's going to be a bad loss for the Chargers. Now, they both have little caveats, right? For Trevor Lawrence, first year with the new head coach, it finally looks good. So we could say that this is one of those years that's the kind of build up to the crescendo, which would be next year, the year after that. as the Jaguars enter into this Liam Cohen era. Jim Harbaugh era is fully underway in Los Angeles with the Chargers. It feels like last year was that kind of buildup. This year, he'd make something happen. Now, the excuses for the Chargers are, well, they don't have an offensive line, and they're maybe the two best players on their team outside of Justin Herbert. Both got hurt before this season could even really get going, in Joe Walt and Rashawn Slater. But without that, they've overcome it. And you give them a lot of credit for the way the Chargers have played and the way Justin Herbert specifically has played without that offensive line. But I look at the Chargers right now as I expect more out of them than I expect from the Jaguars. And that, with expectations, comes that pressure that you're talking about.
I think so I'm with you on Justin Herbert. I think the national narrative would actually be Trevor Lawrence, because I think that
the Chargers are kind of irrelevant nationally, unfortunately for the Chargers.
Really? Because I would feel like the Chargers are much more the darlings of the kind of sexy sleeper pick than the Jags were. Like, the Jags feel like in the AFC a team that is not being talked about whatsoever, despite the fact that they're on a little bit of a heater. Maybe I'm wrong, but nationally I feel like the answer would be Trevor Lawrence, because Trevor Lawrence was the prodigy. He was the number one pick. He won a championship at Clemson. He was supposed to be the next guy in the NFL. And they don't have Travis Hunter. And Justin Herbert gets the excuse of the offensive line. But Justin Herbert, got beat by Trevor Lawrence in a playoff game a few years ago. So Trevor Lawrence has that going for him. And did everyone forget Justin Herbert's playoff performance last year? 4 interceptions against the Texans. And I like Justin Herbert a lot. Justin Herbert's a beast. I think he has an argument to get in that top 5 quarterback conversation. But at some point, this is like Josh Allen.
We're going to need to see it.
You have to see it. And there's only so many times we can go, well, last year, he didn't have receivers. It's only Ladd McConkey. Well, this year, he was young the first year it's really on the defense that gave up the 27-point lead. At some point, you have to win one of these games. So I'm with you. I'm going Justin Herbert. I don't want to hear from a bunch of Charger fans if they lose in the first round going, well, I mean, Herbert, they'll have the offensive line next year. At some point, you have to win a big game. It is a good
excuse. It's like the offensive line thing is a good excuse. Herbert's running for his life. But it's great when we see it in primetime against the Eagles. Can we see that in the postseason?
The only thing I would say, though, if the Chargers, and it's fair, and Herbert is keeping that team alive. I mean, this is not a diss to Herbert. The fact that the Chargers are even in a position to be in the playoffs is 100% Herbert. Jesse Minter's going to get a job, the defensive coordinator.
Yeah.
So this defense that's unbelievable that you have right now might not be the same going forward with 2 aging veterans in Derwin James and Khalil Mack. The excuses are running thin. Chargers, big year for the Chargers.
I'm glad you brought up the word defense, Sammy, because I'm hoping we see 0 defense tomorrow night and all offense and all fireworks. Oh, no, tonight when Anthony Joshua
yes.
and Jake Paul hit the ring. It's going to be a lot of fun. It's on Netflix, free to everybody. Let's talk about it a little bit coming up on the other side. Also, Zach Bryan tickets July 31st at Snapdragon Stadium. We got them for you later on the show today. Steve Hartman, of course, will be by for his Friday appointment with us, and we'll see what wacky-ass Steve has to say today. But it's San Diego Sports 760. Let's talk some fights coming up next. The Aztecs are back tomorrow night. They go on the road, taking on number 1 ranked Arizona. Our pregame coverage will get going at 6:30. John Schaefer's going to have the tip off right after 7:30 right here on your home for San Diego State. San Diego Sports 760. Busy few days for Aztecs basketball. Saturday, they're taking on number 1 in the country, Arizona. And then Monday, they come back to Viejas Arena for a game against Whittier, their busiest week or so of the season since that Vegas tournament where they played 3 games in 3 days. All right, text line is open today, 70470. Start your message with the word team. We got a few comments coming in. 760 says, Sammy, Padres aren't making the postseason without Joe Musgrove being a big part of it.
I think that's a fair point.
20 starts feels right to me.
I think that I agree with that. I think if Joe Musgrove has to be relied upon to have heavy usage, probably not a great time for the Padres.
619 Fletch thinking his team is even close to as good as the 2 teams that played last night is laughable and borderline delusional. Seattle's going to beat the Niners by 50.
619, just wait. He'll realize it in January.
It's funny because I'm pretty sure the 49ers this year have beaten both the Rams and the Seahawks at one point. So just curious on that. 858, as a San Diego native and an Arizona alum, just wanted to say BTFD. Now, a couple of different ways you can go with that. Beat the effing Dodgers? Sure, but that doesn't make sense for the San Diego native and Arizona alum, obviously referencing this weekend's game. Sammy, do you have any guesses on BTFD?
I don't. I was trying to figure it out in the break. So shout out to the texter. Maybe we just read something offensive on air. I don't know.
Behind the effing door. Behind the effing door? That works. Behind the front door? That works.
Go with it.
We'll go with that. Let us know, 858. I'd love to hear the rest of that. All right, tonight, Anthony Joshua and Jake Paul will be fighting against each other. They will make hundreds of millions of dollars in the process as Jake Paul continues to get richer because we all happen to watch his stuff. Now, tonight, it's free on Netflix, which is great for any sports fans because I don't know that I'd be buying another Jake Paul fight.
No.
But Sammy has assured me that this is going to be for real.
Because it's a sanctioned fight. This is not like some of the
Has
other.
he done one of these before? A sanctioned fight?
He's done sanctioned fight, like the
Fury fight sanctioned.
The Tommy Fury fight was sanctioned,
and he lost that fight.
He lost that. Now, this fight tonight. So Vegas is getting all this late money in today, and everyone's betting Jake Paul because I think a lot of people think it's rigged. Let me tell you why you should stop betting Jake Paul tonight. And I will, if somehow he wins, then I will eat crow next week. But
no, I will say I give Sammy a lot of smack about a lot of stuff, but there's one area he knows just so much more about the boxing world than I do. Are you still doing that podcast?
We have something coming out next month.
What's it called?
It's we're rebranding, possibly a thing. Yeah, we're gonna get to it.
Something about counting numbers.
The long count.
The long count. That was a great name.
I appreciate it. But this one, so Anthony Joshua has no reason to lay down in this fight. This is not like other past UFC fighters, your Anderson Silvas, your Tyron Woodleys, who he's fought in the past, who are fighting in boxing because they never made the amount of money that they wanted to, life-changing money they could have in the UFC. Anthony Joshua, for people who aren't maybe tapped into the boxing world, has a massive showdown lined up next year with Tyson Fury, and that is the biggest fight in Europe, in England. That has been what they've been wanting for years. That fight is a legit fight and is going to make hundreds of millions of dollars, especially domestically, and will also be a draw here in the States. So Anthony Joshua, if he loses this fight, it goes on his record. This is someone who beat Vladimir Klitschko. This is someone who has fought Alexander Usyk twice. This is like forever, whatever you want to say about Anthony Joshua's career and the fact that he's lost to Andy Ruiz and had a couple missteps, got blasted by Daniel Dubois earlier this year. Still, he was a heavyweight champion. Jake Paul's never faced a guy who is bigger than him. He's going to smoke him. Like this,
and it's not just a little bit bigger. At weigh-ins, it was 27 pounds, which by the time they actually fight, because I'm assuming Jake Paul was eating as much as possible for that weigh-in, and Anthony Joshua was losing as much weight as possible for that weigh-in. So by the time they actually fight, this may be closer to a 40-pound difference.
Fletch, what do you think? I'm curious your thoughts on this. And text line, I'd love to hear your thoughts. 70470. Start your message with team. What's a win for Jake tonight? Because if you think about it, he's fighting a real fighter.
That's a really fun first round. Is a win for Jake Paul tonight. If he comes out firing, if he comes out aggressive like a wildcat out of hell and is throwing punches like crazy and maybe lands a couple, that's a win for Jake Paul. He's probably going to get knocked out. Would you say 2-3 rounds?
2-3 round. They have the over under at 2.5. So they're saying maybe a feel out round.
Yeah, 760 saying Joshua's going to win by KO in round 1. It's going to be bad. I think the win for Jake Paul is making it through the first couple of rounds and looking like he is a ferocious, insane person.
And if you're Anthony Joshua, what I'm curious about is if he presses it in round 1, because this is an 8-round fight. Let's say he gets a 5th round knockout. People are going to go, Anthony Joshua's washed. That's what people are going to say. People are going to go, you took 5 rounds to knock this guy out, a guy who was fighting YouTubers 5 years ago. I mean, that in credit to Jake Paul for actually taking it seriously and fighting. But, all the pressure's on Anthony Joshua tonight. Is he getting a KO? 100%. He's going to knock Jake Paul silly. If you don't like Jake Paul, I would recommend tuning in tonight because it should be a fun, free night on Netflix.
Do you have a round that you're calling the knockout in? Because that's where you can make some money, right?
I'm thinking, so long shot, it's going to be a part of long shots. I am going back and forth 2 or 3. Part of me thinks because it's a spectacle, Joshua is a little hesitant early sometimes in fights ever since he got knocked out by Andy Ruiz. I wouldn't be surprised if this goes 3 and Jake runs for a round or 2, but I could also see Joshua literally coming out and knocking him out in a minute. So I'm going to guess round 3. That's what I'm going to go with. Round 3 knockout for Joshua.
All right. I like it. Let's all put the house on it. San Diego Sports 760. We're going to take a quick break here. Look forward to some NFL action coming up next at San Diego Sports 760. You're listening live on the iHeartRadio app.
The sport's sponsored by Valley View Casino and Hotel. Big news locally. Star pitcher Michael King is back with the Padres to probably go number 2 in the rotation. It is a 3-year, $75 million contract for him, but it's a player opt-out after every season. So essentially a 1-year, $25 million deal. Michael King at his presser today said, quote, "We have unfinished business. Tomorrow night, San Diego State, biggest test of the season out there in Phoenix, taking on Arizona. That game will be at 7:30. Arizona is currently a 14.5 point favorite with the point total set at 156.5. Hear that game right here on San Diego Sports 760 with Schaefer at 7:30 and Fletch on the pregame at 6:30. In big fight in the boxing world tonight, Jake Paul taking on Anthony Joshua in a sanctioned heavyweight scrap. Paul is currently a 7-1 underdog. Be the 3 C's MVP this month at Valley View Casino and Hotel on December 26th. One lucky winner will score cash, and more cash, or a spin for $100,000 during the 3 C's giveaway. Only at San Diego's favorite casino.
It's actually radio station San Diego Sports 760 on the West Coast in the most beautiful city in the world.
We have a wish line too. It's called 70470. Start your message with team.
San Diego. I believe they named it. The Germans named it at one point. It is San Diego Sports 760. We're happy to be here. Hopefully you're happy to have us. If it's your first time listening to the show, my name is Ben Fletcher. That's Sammy Long. And the text line, like Sammy just mentioned, is a great way to communicate with the show. We got a few other ways too. On YouTube at San Diego Sports 760, you can drop a comment like our buddy Rich did. He said, "Bear the F down," talking about BTFD, which we're still trying to figure out. Rich also says, "I'm calling the Aztec upset this weekend."
Love to hear it.
That'd be significant, is what I will say, if the San Diego State Aztecs find a way to upset the Arizona Wildcats. 858 says, "A win for Jake Paul is to not die in the ring." Brings me back to Rocky. If he dies, he dies.
If he dies, he dies.
858. "I'm going to watch the fight tonight, but I don't feel good about it. Hate what the Paul brothers have done to boxing, but I can't miss the best opportunity to watch Jake get knocked out."
I think that's why a lot of people are tuning in tonight.
And then we got the 619 who's still on me about this Niners thing. Says Niners beat Seattle in week 1 with Fred Warner, and he said Joey Bosa. It's Nick Bosa. And Mac Jones beat the Rams, not the 7th rounder. By the 7th rounder, I'm assuming you mean Brock Purdy.
619 is coming after your Niners, Fletch.
It's all right. I can take it. Just don't let the Niners get the 1 seed in the NFC is all I'm saying. And it could very likely happen.
I would love it because it creates expectations.
Yeah,
and what comes with expectations is hope. And it's, what do they say in Avengers? It's the hope that kills you.
Sure. Do not let the Niners win a Super Bowl this year. I will be intolerable for
my
months.
God. I might quit if that happened.
I would recommend it, Sammy, if I'm being honest. All right. San Diego Sports 760. We're not going to talk about the Niners right now. What we are going to talk about is the fact that San Diego State's going on the road to take on Arizona. And then we'll get to the NFL Saturday games in just a second here. But do we all understand the significance of this? So San Diego State, they lose that game to Troy early on in the year, right? And that was a bit of a shocker. I was at that game the entire time. It just wasn't really making sense to me because what I was watching in that Troy-San Diego State game was the Aztecs actually playing some pretty good defense and Troy not missing a single freaking shot for the entire second half. That's what I saw. Maybe I'm wrong on that. Maybe San Diego State really played bad in that game, but that's not what I saw.
But Troy elevated their game.
Troy was on fire. They were making stupid shots. It was Manu Ginobili from every single player on their bench because literally they were getting down to their bench and they were making up and under ridiculous stuff. Leave that where it is. It's a bad loss. It's going to be an anchor for the rest of the season for San Diego State, and ultimately that's what matters. Michigan game, I almost think you throw it out because it doesn't even matter. Michigan's beating everybody by 40. Baylor game hurts, but not that bad. So if you look at this San Diego State team, the opportunity they have this weekend against Arizona, even with a 5-point loss, if I'm being honest, you start to erase that Troy game and you can kind of move on with the rest of your season. If you get a win against Arizona, all of a sudden you're back in the top 25 of the KenPom. You're probably in the top 30 of the net ranking. You're dropping Arizona a little bit. Who's going to work their way back up, and Arizona's going to end up being one of the best quad 1 wins you could have under your belt as possible. This is quite literally, this Arizona game could be your golden ticket into the NCAA tournament.
Well, right. There's always people have been kind of saying all week, is this a must-win game? It's a must-win game if you want an at-large bid. If there's always the
easy at-large bid.
An easy at-large bid. In there's always the win the Mountain West, which the Aztecs are certainly talented enough and capable of doing. And I think in the tournament, in the Mountain West Conference tournament, they'd be a favorite along with anyone else. But it's kind of an S show, if we're being honest. Like in any given night,
3 games in 3 days, it's chaos.
And that's a lot of stress to put on your team a week before heading to the NCAA tournament. This is the golden ticket. Like this is you didn't show up against Michigan. That was a beatdown. Michigan's beat down everyone, but still the Aztecs hold themselves to a standard of that they're in that kind of tier of team, and they didn't perform well. They didn't perform well against Baylor. They played well against Oregon, got the win there. They've been playing better basketball the last couple weeks, but this team's a completely different beast. They have 5 guys in double digits, 2 right outside coming off their bench that average 8 and 9 points a game. This Arizona team with Pete is littered with NBA talent. The Aztecs, though, and this is not us just gassing them up because we're the home of the Aztecs. The Aztecs on paper, like if you're an Arizona fan, if you look at this from the other side, you go, this is kind of a weird game for us because of the fact the Aztecs have actually had some losses and aren't super high in KenPom. But you look at the roster and go, there's a lot of returning guys, Reese Dixon Waters, Miles Bird, BJ Davis playing unbelievable. Aztecs averaging the highest number of points per game at 43 bench points in the country. So if you look at it from the other way, it's a little bit tricky for them. Arizona should rightfully be the favorite. They're 14.5-point favorites. To Fletch's point, if you just be respectable.
You lose this game by 5, you're moving up in every metric.
What can't happen is Michigan. Because if you show up and people look at the Michigan loss by 40 and you get blown out by 25, 30, people go, this team isn't on that level to compete on a national stage. If you show up in Phoenix, which is kind of BS because it's a neutral site game, even though it's in Phoenix where there's going to be a lot more Arizona fans than Aztec fans, just show up, play your game, and ride the hot hand.
I do know we have people listening to this show right now, Sammy, on their way out to Arizona.
Hell yeah.
So enjoy that road trip. It's a terrible drive, but have fun with it, and we'll be your
soundtrack. Go to Alma and Scottsdale for dinner if that's your thing.
What was the place?
Alma. They have these birria tacos. Ooh, unbelievable.
That sounds nice. I could go for a birria taco right now. But you mentioned Koa Pete. He's phenomenal, man, for Arizona. He actually struggled in their game against the Alabama Crimson Tide, and they won that game by 21 points. So the best player on Arizona played poorly against one of their toughest competitions they've had this year. They win by 21. They got this guy, Braden Berries, who's phenomenal. He'll drop 30 plus on you, and he's not one of their main guys, but he has that ability to just go be an elite scorer. Guys off the bench, like you were talking about, it's a very deep Arizona team. Anthony Del Orso is fantastic off the bench. He plays 15, 17 minutes per game. And so Arizona is a really, really, really tough match. It's a team that could absolutely be playing for a national championship this year. And we'll see if San Diego State can do it. What I'd say, you're not winning this game if Miles Bird, Reese Dixon Waters, BJ Davis, and LZ Harrington combined for like 2 field goals in the first half. No. You're going to need to start strong, finish strong.
Yeah, you need your stars to show up. But this is, if you're looking for kind of a glimmer of hope, if you're looking for, hey, how can the Aztecs win this game? And again, Arizona is rightfully the favored. They are a beast team. But we've kind of been talking about Fletch on the pregame shows. Like, there's been some concern of why are the Aztecs playing 11 guys? There's some people are like, that's fantastic. It's great that the Aztecs have a bench that you can't really put anybody on the bench because no one's really stepped up and taken that mantle. And all 11 guys have played well at certain points this season. But against a team like Arizona, it's nice to know that you have depth to go to, because a lot of times with Arizona, teams like that with massive NBA talent are able to get your 2 best players in foul trouble, and then you're going to a bench that just simply can't compete on the floor with these guys. It's nice to know that the Aztecs have the depth to fall back on and hopefully kind of throw some fouls at Arizona the other way.
It's going to be fun, man. All right. This weekend, we got 2 good NFL games on Saturday. Eagles, Commanders in the early window. Bears, Packers in the late window. I mean, you talk about like how last night was super influential for the NFC. Bears, Packers is almost equal, but just the middle of the NFC postseason. I can't wait for it. And our buddy John on YouTube say, did I miss the Puka Nacua talk? Yeah, Puka Nacua, who's had himself a rough week, made it even harder on himself last night. We'll get into that in hour number 2, as well as give away some Zach Bryan tickets. It's San Diego Sports 760. Long shots on a heater coming up next.
Back-to-back days with the song?
Oh, you smell that? It smells like green. That's what I'm talking about. Not the sticky icky green. No, the cash green.
You could buy Sticky Icky with all the money you're winning from long shots.
I mean, I don't know that. Yeah, I guess you could.
I'm
Or
just saying
you could do something sensible like invest it.
Sammy Claus is here and wants to make sure you and all your families and friends and loved one have gifts for the holidays.
Santa
You're
Claus
welcome.
Is coming down your chimney with his big sack full of money. So Sammy,
Santa Claus is here.
the last 2 days, couple of winners on long shots. So you had a 2Z, you had a 3Z. We need a 4Z today. And if you're going like I'm doing, which is a risk, I've been upping the amount every single time. I made some pretty nice coin on Sammy last night, if I'm being completely honest. In fact, I think I have to pay taxes on what Sammy has made me so far this year.
You have to pay taxes.
I do have to pay taxes on it. So
See,
that's
some of us don't
unfortunate.
have the big rich CDM Fletch money, so we have to be moderate in our gambling. Fletch out here, how much profit did you make last night, Fletch? Do you want to tell our listeners how much you made? Or is that not allowed on air?
Well, I said it on the show. So the first one, I'll be honest, like I put $10 on the 2-person lineup, and that made me like $40.
Okay. How much? So
I took 35 of that 40, and I put it on what you did yesterday, but I added the LeBron James pick,
yes,
which also worked out.
LeBron worked out.
You do the math from there. That's all I'll say.
LeBron was fantastic yesterday. Keontae George, my Lakers perimeter defense was atrocious despite them getting the win. Keontae George balled out, and then Darnold hit his over. Kyron Williams hit his over. This weekend's almost hard because there's so much to choose from.
What I want, like, how much do I put on today's lineup? I'm right in the heater. This is in blackjack, and I just got dealt 2 blackjacks in a row, and now I got to make a decision on this third bet. Am I upping it again, or do I draw back?
I know I'm gonna win. This is up to you. I don't want to tell. I don't know what your Christmas budget is, but again, Santa Claus is here, and he's giving out gifts to the children.
We're going big. Sammy, smash the button.
You looking for some luck? Want to win big? Gotta play big.
You are so money, you don't even know it.
Time to take a chance
Pay that man his money.
with long shots.
Look what Tyler just said. Tyler said put 350 on it.
Whoa, dude, no. I'm not doing that.
Scared money don't make money, all right?
That's stupid money is what that is, Tyler. I will be putting more than I put yesterday, but not $350. Sammy, where are we going?
Okay, so I have a 5-legger, and I'm going to let Fletch veto one.
Oh, that's a lot of pressure.
Okay, I'm going to let you veto one.
Just telling you right now, I'm putting all 5 in. This is all on you, Sammy.
We're doing 5?
I'm putting all 5 in. I will give you a veto option, but I'm putting all 5.
Well, if you're just going to put all 5 in, then don't give me a veto option.
Well, if I hate one of them, I'll tell you.
Okay. All right. We got 2 NFL, 2 college football, and you know we're betting the fight tonight. To our one texter, 858, that was asking about Tyron Woodley versus Anderson Silva. I would love to make a pick for that fight.
Anderson Silva?
They're on the undercard tonight.
Anderson Silva's fighting again?
Yeah, they're fighting Tyron Woodley on the undercard.
What?
Yeah, it's a little crazy. I would like to do that. Unfortunately, PrizePicks not offering a lot of options with it. Don't feel comfortable at the punches landed because they're not both technical boxers.
Wait, Anderson Silva, like the GOAT of the UFC,
Yes, who fought
fighting.
Jake
He's
Paul
boxing.
before, is boxing Tyron Woodley time.
Wow.
This is what Jake Paul does.
Anderson,
It's a show.
stay retired, dude. You've taken some gnarly. You took like 211 punches in one fight from Chael Sonnen.
Yeah,
It's crazy.
I don't know why he's doing it. Anyway, all right. Starting with boxing tonight. It's the first one on the slate. Anthony Joshua, Jake Paul. I was going back and forth on this. Fight time is set at 8.5 minutes. We're gonna go less. Now, normally I usually go over on fights because sometimes people are prone to thinking, oh, he's going to knock him out, and people want to see knockouts, so they bet unders a lot. This is why this fight's going under. There is no reason for Anthony Joshua to carry Jake Paul. Jake Paul's making his money, or Jake Paul and Anthony Joshua are making their money no matter what for stepping in the ring tonight. I understand the hesitation, people going, it's rigged, some of these other fights. If you watch the Mike Tyson fight, you're like, this is BS. He didn't want to knock him out. Remember, Jake Paul is not Logan Paul. That Logan Paul Mayweather thing was a joke. Mayweather held him up. That was an exhibition. This is a sanctioned 8-round fight. Anthony Joshua has lined up next year with Turki Al-Sheikh, a mega showdown with Tyson Fury and in him, with also a fight before then to set that up. This is big money. Hundreds of millions of dollars on the line. If he loses to Jake Paul tonight, or even goes 5 or 6 rounds to get a knockout, all that money and buzz for that fight goes away. There is no incentive for Anthony Joshua to carry him a little bit. Under 8.5 minutes, I think he blasts him in the second round. We're going to the second round knockout. Jake Paul does not have the technical abilities to stay with Anthony Joshua, nor has he ever been hit by a heavyweight in 10-ounce gloves. Night, Jake.
Speed this up a little bit, Sammy.
Night in the second round. All right, going to college football. Marcel Reed, Texas A&M, Miami. More than 36.5 rush yards for Marcel Reed at quarterback. What do we know about Marcel Reed? He's not the most accurate passer. They've had some big wins this year when they went against Notre Dame. In the biggest games, though, Texas, LSU, Notre Dame, he hits his over on rushing yards. They keep him in the pocket on games that they're playing that they can just win on talent. A&M, he's going to have to get out of the pocket against that ferocious pass rush with Ruben McBain and that Miami defense. More than 36.5 rush yards for Marcel Reed. Ole Miss, Tulane, Trinidad Chambliss. Now, Fletch keeps telling you about how he's picking Tulane in this game for the possible upset.
Whoa, not for money line. Definitely on the spread.
287.5 pass yards, Trinidad Chambliss, quarterback for Ole Miss, more than. This team was beat. I was wrong yesterday. Ole Miss beat them by 35 earlier this year. 35. Chambliss had 307 pass yards in that game, and that's with him getting pulled early. I get Lane Kiffin's not there. This team, in my estimation, is going to come out with their hair on fire. I think their Ole Miss is going to mud stomp Tulane tomorrow and to show everyone that they have the talent. They got Lacey at running back, Chambliss at quarterback. Chambliss has a big day passing, more than 287.5 pass yards. All right, to our two NFL picks. Justin Herbert, less than 245.5 pass yards. And you're going, what, Sammy? You're betting on the Dallas defense? Dallas defensive coordinator has been called out by Jerry Jones. And Justin Herbert, quietly, Chargers are winning games. The passing attack has not been there the last couple weeks. It wasn't there against the Chiefs. It wasn't there against the Eagles. They have been winning this because of the defense, and with Hampton coming back, that hand is still injured with Justin Herbert. We're going less than 245.5 pass yards, and the Cowboys got embarrassed. I think they show out in this game after a rough performance against the Vikings last week. Final pick, Lamar Jackson, more than 249.5 pass and receiving yards Sunday Night Football against the Pats. I think this is Lamar's show. I think Lamar, this is a hunch pick.
Pass and rushing yards?
249.5 pass and rush yards.
Okay.
Yes, so more than. I think Lamar is going to have a huge performance on Sunday night. It is a big deal. Lamar needs to get in the playoffs. He's looked healthier the last couple weeks. I know he didn't hit his over last week against Cincinnati, but that's because they were winning most of the game. This is going to be a highly competitive back and forth game. Josh Allen showed you last week that you can score on this pass defense. Lamar's going to do the same thing. More than 249.5 pass and rush yards. So to recap, Anthony Joshua, less than 8.5 fight time minutes in the fight tonight. Marcel Reed, quarterback for Texas A&M, more than 36.5 rush yards, Trinidad Chambliss, more than 287.5 pass yards, quarterback for Ole Miss. Justin Herbert, less than 245.5 pass yards for the Chargers. And Lamar Jackson, more than 249.5 pass and receiving yards, capping it off on Sunday Night Football for the win.
I don't feel great about this, Sammy, but I'm going all in for you.
Why don't you feel great about it?
No, I do feel good about your picks.
This
is the biggest entry I've ever put in financially.
Well, then don't do that.
No, I'm doing it.
That's a you thing. Don't be mad. I don't want to text Sunday night going, "Hey man, what the hell, bro?"
No, I would never do that. Come on now. Can't believe you didn't put Phillip Rivers in there.
Well, he plays Monday night. I guess we don't have a show Monday.
No, we don't. We have the Aztecs basketball game.
Well, maybe we'll cut in the Aztecs basketball game with long shot.
Yeah, just break in at 1:45 when they're in the middle of the first half, or 12:45.
Hey guys, real quick, we got to figure this out.
Schaefer, you know what? We're gonna need you to wait a second.
Hey, guys, come on, seriously.
We had important stuff to get
Gambling.
to.
All right, they're playing Whittier. They're gonna destroy them by 50.
Hopefully. All right, San Diego Sports 760. Hour 2 is coming up next. In hour number 2, we have Steve Hartman on. Also in hour number 2, Puka Nacua keeps tweeting. Can somebody stop him? It's San Diego Sports 760. You're listening live on the iHeartRadio app.
The sport is sponsored by Sid's Carpet Barn. Big news of the day coming out of Padre land. You got Michael King back on a 3-year, $75 million contract. It is essentially 3 one-year deals worth $25 million because of a player opt-out each season. Aztecs back tomorrow night, taking on Arizona. Huge matchup out there in Phoenix. Arizona is currently a 14.5-point favorite with the point total set at 156.5. Hear that game right here on San Diego Sports 760 with Schaefer at 7:30. Fletch on the pregame starting at 6:30. And tonight in college football, we got the college football playoff starting. We got Alabama, Oklahoma in OU. OU is currently a 1.5-point favorite. That game gets going at 5 p.m. With Kohl's Fine Flooring closing, Sid's Carpet Barn is San Diego's undisputed flooring leader, carrying a huge selection of high-end flooring and durable, economical flooring too, all at the lowest prices in town. Visit sidscarpet.com.
Not like other guys.
Where are we going in sports?
Sound off like you got a pair.
A classic in the Pacific Northwest.
That Shaheed steps up to field at the 42. Middle of the field, breaks a tackle 30, down the left sideline, 20, touchdown Rashid Shaheed.
They signed up for more than 60.
Darnold has time. Looks inside. It's caught. Touchdown. Make an extra point. Make a conversion. I don't care what it is. The Seahawks win the game again on the last play of the game.
The Seahawks take control of the division and the conference. What does the rest of the NFL weekend look like? Speaking of the postseason,
Playoffs.
the college football playoff kicks off tonight. Could JMU or Tulane play Cinderella?
Would we allow the winner of the AAA baseball league, would you let them in the World Series playoff? That's the equivalent of what we do when JMU gets into the college football playoff and Notre Dame doesn't.
And
Kyron Williams, more than 71.5 rush and receiving yards.
That's great.
Sam Darnold, more than 224.5 pass yards.
You're sounding great.
Keontae George, guard for the Utah Jazz, against my Los Angeles Lakers tonight. More than 27 points, averaging 30 against them this season.
It's perfect. I won't have to change this at all.
the weekend starts now from the studios of San Diego Sports 760 inside the Fletch Zone.
All right, let's get it going here. Now we're number 2. Hey, Sammy, help jog my memory here. Have we given away Zach Bryan tickets yet?
We haven't.
Oh, we haven't.
It's almost like a Christmas miracle right around the corner.
Wow. So if you are listening and you like country music, if you like Zach Bryan, we got a pair of tickets for you coming up within the next 30 minutes. So don't go anywhere.
And you know
All
what the best part about it real quick though?
Please do.
Is if you happen to be lucky to win these tickets, it counts as a Christmas gift. And as long as you don't show the iHeart logo, you can say that you bought it. So this is really a lifesaver for someone out there listening to us right now, coming up in the next, what should we say?
30 minutes.
30 minutes. Just keep listening. It's that easy. What are you going to do?
Listening.
It's Friday.
Keep on listening. All right. A quick PSA, if I may, to start out this hour. A PSA is a public service announcement made famous by Jay-Z. But every once in a while around the Christmas time, somebody will give you a stocking stuffer or probably a re-gift. Like, hey, there's something that somebody gave me. I'm going to give it to you. My wife is a teacher. She gets a ton of these gifts. I can't tell you how many hand lotions, bottles of wine.
People trying to get good grades?
Or just people who get things that are like, what am I going to do with this stupid little thing from Bed Bath & Beyond? Oh, I know. We can give it to little Jimmy's teacher. So we get all this stuff all the time. Yesterday, my wife, Kendall, comes home with a mason jar that looked really beautiful and festive, full of chocolates.
Okay.
And I was like, oh, hell yes, I'm getting in these chocolates. So I pop it open as soon as she gets home, take a bite. I'm like, ooh, coffee flavored chocolates. Delicious. Phenomenal.
Okay.
Ate like 7 of them right away. They were chocolate covered espresso beans. And what they don't tell you on the label is that they have a ton of caffeine in them. And you will not sleep if you eat a bunch of them.
So you were a little wired last night.
I did not sleep until like 2 a.m., Sammy. Like 2 a.m. I'm sitting there just wired. And then 2 hours later, my alarm goes off. So the PSA is chocolate covered espresso beans still have a lot of caffeine in them and they will keep you up all night.
Are you a big, a little bit different, no, but kind of Christmas theme. Are you a big white elephant guy? You know,
I did a Secret Santa this morning.
Okay, but have you ever done the white elephant?
Is that where you steal stuff?
Yeah.
The only experience I have with it is watching the episode of The Office when Michael Scott buys an iPod and there was a $25 gift limit on it and it ruined Christmas.
Yes. Okay.
But no, I would say I'm not a huge fan of it.
So see, I'm with you too, because we've done this for years. When we used to travel to the Midwest to see, the whole family would meet at grandma's place. But it's never a good idea. Like it really,
someone's feelings will get hurt
because someone like me forgets to do it and goes, "Oh, I'll buy a $50 Chipotle gift card." Who doesn't want that? Everyone's like, "Okay, I can use that. Like I can have lunch free for the next week." So then people actually take.
Have you seen Chipotle's prices recently?
Yeah,
it'll last you like 2 or 3 days.
Yeah, that's actually very true.
You want chips and guac? It's a whole nother story.
Yeah, like what happened to cheap pricing anymore?
Yeah, Chipotle used to be like $8 in and out the door. Boom. Now it's like 15.
We have had many a Christmas gathering where people get their feelings hurt because they actually have a meaningful gift. Like it is just not. I don't know, the whole Secret Santa white elephant thing. I don't really get into that.
Cash is the best present. Will always be the
wrap
best
it in
present.
a bow.
You know what? My nieces and nephews like me more than everybody else because they just get a nice crisp $20 bill from Uncle Ben. And they're like, this is so cool.
Really? Uncle Ben can't pop for the can't even go triple digits?
They're like 6 and 7 years old, Sammy. I got a couple more years left at least with them thinking $20 is awesome. So I'm going to ride that coat as long as I can. And then once they get to the point where like $20, I can't even buy half a PlayStation game with this.
Yeah. Like Uncle Ben, bro.
My cousin, or actually, sorry, my brother-in-law, Dave, gives $20 lotto scratchers to everybody for Christmas.
That's a great idea.
I love that gift.
I would love to receive that.
It's an awesome gift. And like most of the time you don't win, and that's fine. But every once in a while you get like another ticket or you win $100 or something. The $20 scratchers are actually the way to go.
Maybe this is an indictment on our extended family. And I don't know if they're going to like me saying this on the radio, but
ahead.
Who cares? Because I'm already here. My mom was very thoughtful and one year thought, you know what, I'm going to do something different instead of like the spirit of Christmas is giving, right? So she was going to do a donation to everyone's favorite charity. Okay.
No,
so
my grandma did this one year. I think I still own a goat somewhere. I was like, I gifted a goat to a family. And I was like, oh, this is so sweet.
I was like with it. I was like, this is cool. Like shout out to my mom for like thinking about others. And let me tell you, certain members of the family who we will remain nameless, extended family, have lost the spirit of Christmas about how it's not about receiving, it's about giving to others.
Sure. Sammy and I are going to do our little presents and Christmas show next Tuesday.
Yes, Christmas show on Tuesday.
Christmas show on Tuesday. In fact, here, I'll pull up the little graphic we had made for it. If you're watching on YouTube.
We have a graphic?
Hey! Hey, how about that?
Look at that budget. Look at that budget on the screen.
That. I got another one. You ready for this one?
I like that even better.
All right. Follow us on YouTube at San Diego Sports 760.
That one's better.
The show on X at Fletch and Sammy. We have fun little candy canes and stuff on the screen right now. All right. Let's get serious for a second here because, man, we have a busy week. Tonight, college football playoff gets going. Let's go. Tomorrow morning, it continues. Smartly putting the best game of tomorrow's slate ahead of any NFL action because in the afternoon tomorrow, starting at 2 o'clock, the NFL takes over. Eagles, Commanders, Packers, Bears, massive game in the late window with the Packers and the Bears that's going to determine a lot. There's a realistic shot by the end of this weekend, the Packers could fall out of postseason contention right now. And that is not a space that I would have thought they would be in at this point in the season. But you think about if with the Lions getting a win, if the Bears beat the Packers, all of a sudden there's some serious shuffling going on. And in the NFC right now, it still feels like there's 6 or 7 teams that could move their places, right? You could either fall out of the postseason or jump their way into the postseason. We even talked
about the Bucks and the Panthers have their probably division on the line.
Yeah, for sure.
On Sunday.
So you look right now, and I had the playoff picture pulled up, and now it's gone, but here it is. Okay, perfect. So you look right now, in the bottom of the NFC, with the teams that are either on the bubble or in the playoffs, you have a bunch of teams just grouped together. You mentioned it between the Bucks and the Panthers who are currently just outside looking to fight their way in. But the Packers and Lions are the one I'm looking at because you feel like you look at the Lions, Sammy, and you look at just the roster. And you're like, oh, this is a postseason roster that should be able to make a push for an NFC championship game. Well, as of right now, if everything holds, the Lions aren't even in the postseason.
Who's more dangerous?
I think the Lions are more dangerous than the Packers, but I think the Packers at this point still have a better shot of getting in. Chaos.
I would go Lions as well because I think the Lions, if you look at, I'm still going to say the Rams are the favorite in the NFC. I want to give the Seahawks mad credit. I'm happy for my guy, Sam Darnold, that he was able to win that game. I don't come away from yesterday going, they're going to beat them in the postseason, even if it's in Seattle. I think the Rams are the number one team. They have been the entire season. Detroit has the ability, even though I know they played them a week ago and they lost, to match them, at least them and Philly, on the outside with the amount of weapons they have. I know they haven't put it together yet. They took the play calling away from Morton and now it's Campbell. The Lions are certainly a big playoff threat, and the Packers are. It sucks what happened to Micah. I'm glad that Christian Watson's okay because he
dislocated ribs and he's on pace to play this week.
I mean, but both quarterbacks, like Jordan Love, can really make a legacy for himself if he wins a couple playoff games despite losing your superstar pass rusher. Because this is why they pay Jordan Love. I mean, look at that division. You got Goff, Love, and then you got Caleb Williams. It's going to be interesting of those three quarterbacks who's able to go the furthest.
I mean, the Bears are in the best spot right now with 10 wins. Packers just behind them with 9, and Lions just behind that with 8. So there's still a lot of movement that can happen there. And unfortunately, the NFC South exists. So either the Bucs, who have 7 wins right now, and the Panthers, who have 7 wins right now, they get determined essentially this weekend, depending on how the following 2 weeks go. But I almost feel like I'd rather see the Panthers at this point. As much as I love Baker Mayfield and the Bucs, and they're starting to get healthier, like the Panthers are the more interesting storyline to me. All right, let's get to the big 3 here. We're going to be quick, lightning fast with it. Steve Hartman coming up at 1:30. Zach Bryan tickets coming up in 15 minutes. Don't go anywhere. Sammy, smash.
Your lunch break is here. Ready to go back to the office and knock the socks off your friends? I mean, coworkers? It's time for the top stories of the day. The Big 3.
No wasting time, Sammy. Smash, smash, smash.
What's worse for their legacy? Lamar missing the playoffs or Josh Allen not reaching the Super Bowl?
Lamar missing the playoffs. Look, Josh Allen, we'll find ways to make excuses for him. I promise you I will. If he misses out on the Super Bowl, Sammy won't because he hates Josh Allen and the Bills, but I will. Here's the thing. There's still some stuff in the AFC that could really go wrong for the Buffalo Bills, who, if we're being completely honest, have maybe the worst defense in the NFC or the AFC playoff field. Yes, it's a bad look for Josh Allen, but that Bills defense has been horrendous lately, and he's been doing everything he can to get them back into games. With the Ravens, you understand the injuries from earlier in the season, but at this point, like right now, the Ravens are sitting at a 38% chance to make the postseason with a win this weekend. They get up to a 50% chance. It is damning in this. It's not like Lamar Jackson has been the dude who's been hurt all year long, right? He was hurt for a little bit. He's had the hamstring injury, but he's been playing through it. But what NFL player is totally healthy? It was the defense. Josh Allen has dealt with having no defense all year long. So I do think because of the vast difference in those two things you laid out, not making a Super Bowl versus not making the playoffs, it is Lamar Jackson.
I'm going with Super Bowl because Lamar has the excuse of the defense has been really hurt. He did miss a few games this year. I see where you're coming from. It's not completely in his hands. They got robbed in that Pittsburgh Steelers game, I personally thought, when Isaiah likely caught the touchdown. Josh Allen, listen, I'm going to give him his props. I know I'm labeled as a Bills hater. Josh Allen, if he goes and wins Super Bowl, I'm giving him his props, but there's no excuses. Burrow's not there. Mahomes isn't there. Lamar might not be there. There's no excuse from Josh Allen. He has to get to a Super Bowl out of the AFC. If he lets one of the Young Bucks do it, don't listen to me that Monday after because it's going to be hell for him.
FedEx Trade just getting in the YouTube chat for the first time this day. He says, just got here, and the answer is Josh Allen. Stop making excuses.
Exactly. Thank you, FedEx Trade. All right, college football playoff. Let's give some predictions. Who's going to the championship game? Like who's winning this thing?
I mean, I really hope it's not Ohio State again, but I kind of feel like that's what it's going to be. Hasn't this set up perfectly for Ohio State to have a rematch with Indiana in the college football playoff and get the win? Like the Indiana winning in the championship game was so huge, so momentous, and then it could all just be undone with the snap of a finger. This feels like it's set up for that to happen. I think that's probably what's going to happen. But man, I'd love to see one of those two teams get knocked out before the championship game.
Okay, I'm going to go. Ohio State has been the best team all year. Feels like Indiana, that was their Super Bowl winning in the Big Ten.
Dark horse, Georgia.
Okay. I'm going to go with a little bit of shock. Ohio State against Oregon. I think Oregon actually gets through as the 5 seed. Oregon can beat Texas Tech. They have weapons on the outside. They got a really good defense. I think the only bad matchup for them, ironically, is Ohio State because we saw what USC was able to do to Oregon despite the Oregon beating USC. When you had big receivers on the outside, they made a lot of jump ball catches on some small corners. Ohio State has the receivers to do that, but I see Oregon, Dante Moore, and Dan Lanning actually getting through that field at the top of the bracket. I see Oregon, Ohio State in the championship with Ohio State winning.
What's the spread going to be for whoever comes out of Alabama, Oklahoma against Indiana? Is that a touchdown spread?
Ooh, I think if Alabama wins, it's a 4-point spread in favor of Indiana. I think if Oklahoma wins, this thing's more like 7-10. That'd be my prediction.
All right, we got one more.
All right, let's go. Let's hit the Padres. Obviously, Michael King signs back today, 3-year, $75 million deal. Each year, though, has opt-outs of the contract, so really a 1 year and 25. Question is this, though. Pivetta or King, who's the number one starter?
Are they both on the team? That's the big question, right? Is Nick Pivetta
Let's say they're both on the
here?
team.
Okay, if they're both on the team, you got to go Nick Pivetta because of how he finished last year. Nick Pivetta ended up being the ace of last year's team. Now, Michael King started it that way last year, but he was hurt all season. This is going to be a little bit of a feeling out process, I do think, for Michael King, who's working his way back still. Once he's fully back and integrated, I know he finished off last season on the active roster, then we'll find out. But if both of them are there day one, the rotation is going to go Nick Pivetta, Michael King, Joe Musgrove, Randy Vasquez.
Right now, to your point, Nick Pivetta, just because he's working back from injury. Though, I will say when Michael King's on, in my estimation,
dude's got stuff.
I think his stuff is probably better than what Nick Pivetta's best. And it's a big question mark because Michael King at times last year looked fantastic. And then there were some times where he looked injured, was coming back from injury, and got shelled a little bit. Michael King, I think, has the ability to pass Nick Pivetta on his way to the number one starter. And then obviously Joe Musgrove's the wild card. If it's the playoffs and they're all perfectly healthy, hell, maybe Joe Musgrove's the number one starter. Not throughout the season because you don't want that kind of tax put on his elbow and his arm. With Joe Musgrove, you want to bring him along slowly. But I would Pivetta right now, I think King and or Musgrove has the shot to pass him, though, because a little bit of regression back to the mean is probably in the cards for Nick Pivetta.
Now, Michael King's press conference happened right as we were getting on the air today, so we haven't really seen much of it or anything, but John and Jim will have a bunch of audio for you coming up in just a little bit. All right. Well done, Sammy. Good Big Three Rapid Fire Edition. Steve Hartman, 15 minutes. Zach Bryan tickets coming up next. Don't go anywhere. It's San Diego Sports 760. You're listening live on the iHeartRadio app. Sammy Long on the music. Man, he never fails to impress.
It's a great song.
It is good. It's not bad at all. All right, it is San Diego Sports 760. Let's hear a little bit from Michael King, who was announced earlier today or last night that he signed a 3-year, $75 million deal with the San Diego Padres to bring him back. Remember, he declined his player option just a couple months ago now. And so he signs the deal. He comes back. AJ Preller and Michael King talked today at Petco Park. Here's a little bit of what Michael King had to say when he was asked why he decided to stay in San Diego. Michael King talking about coming back to the San Diego Padres. Now, you hear a couple things in there, and he said, yeah, AJ does some wacky stuff, and AJ Preller absolutely does.
I'm surprised he said that.
Yeah, but I get it. I mean, think about how Michael King became a Padre. It was trading a generational superstar in Juan Soto to the Yankees to bring Michael King over. Like, that's on the surface kind of a wacky move. Michael King would go on to talk about how there's unfinished business, how there's a bad taste in everyone's mouth with the way last season finished. He talked about the fact that he felt like he failed the Padres last year because he wasn't able to get to 200 innings. And that was the mark he kind of set for himself in the preseason when he was labeled as the day one starter. And he said he was disappointed in himself not able to get that done. But I noticed where that first thank you went to, Sammy. It wasn't necessarily to AJ Preller. The first thank you was to John Seidler.
John Seidler.
How about it? John Seidler getting some love. The Seidler family getting some love. You mean the people who are selling the team?
Well, he also he wants to be careful about thanking the guy who still doesn't have a contract.
Right, exactly. And thanking the guy who's paying you the money is probably the way to go. But yes, congratulations to the Padres. Congratulations to Michael King. There was an adorable moment later on in the press conference where his little daughter, Gracie, interrupted the whole press conference by screaming, which was hilarious. So that's cool. Michael King is easy to root for. He always has been.
Well, it also is cool to see him back in San Diego in all seriousness, because you felt like 2 years ago when he came over in the deal, 2 years ago, he was really kind of coming on to be a really good pitcher. And last year there were massive expectations. He was a day one starter and then kind of marred with injuries and everything that went into last season. And it kind of would be a shame to see Michael King somewhere else and probably developing into the pitcher that we all know he can be. And we said at the top of the show, this pitching staff without Michael King there, and this pitching staff should still make changes. There still needs to add, but 24 hours ago, this is not a playoff. Like Nick Pivetta being the only ace starter and putting Joe Musgrove to have bulk innings as your number two was not a good plan going into the season. And so it's nice that Michael King's back. Now you have a little bit more depth. I think you need to sign another pitcher, someone else to have depth, because as we've seen, pitchers get hurt during the season. And, like Randy Vasquez is great and guys like that and can eat you some innings in the middle of July. But if the Padres are on a playoff push and you know that the Dodgers are going to be there, Diamondbacks probably coming back, Giants getting a full year now after making some big trades last season, you're going to need all hands on deck for this one. And but it starts with Michael King, so credit to the Padres for bringing him back. It was great news this morning.
Looking forward to seeing him pitch in 2026. All right, real quick before we get to Steve Hartman, because we know he'll take up the majority of the rest of the show. Did we all see what Puka Nacua did on Twitter right after the game last night?
I didn't see this.
Okay, so Puka Nacua quote tweets one of Barstool's tweets about what he said on the podcast, where he was talking about the refs, when he said the refs want to just be on TV and go text their group chat after the game and say, hey, did you see that pass interference that I intentionally missed? He quote tweeted that video and said, can you say I was wrong? And then deleted it about 5 seconds later. Sean McVay was asked about it at the podium, and Sean McVay, you could see hell burning in his eyes. Like he was so pissed that Puka Nacua did something else.
Well, what is he complaining? He had 225 yards receiving.
I guess they missed some calls. Was that game poorly officiated? I don't know. They got the call right on the backwards pass on the 2-point conversion. Yeah, just because it's something you don't see. That's what the rules would intend.
I don't remember any part of that game that was some controversial penalty. Like, is he mad about the dropped interception?
Yeah, I don't know.
But the Seahawks ended up winning. So I don't know. I don't get it.
The Seahawks gave the Rams every opportunity in that game to close the door. 2 interceptions from Sam Darnold, the fumble by Cooper Kupp, which he never fumbles. Like every opportunity.
Don't settle for field goals, and this isn't even a game.
Every opportunity for the Rams to win that game. But Puka Nacua, dude, you gotta, after the week you had to do something like that, come on, man.
Puka looked pissed last night when he was coming off the field.
He was phenomenal. Like you
He's
watch
unreal.
that guy play. He is unreal. And for him to just keep stepping in piles of dog crap, I don't get it. Puka, be smarter. All right, Steve Hartman is next. We got a lot to cover with Steve. This is going to be an interesting one. It's on the other side. Oh, wait, pause.
We almost forgot.
Time out.
Christmas season.
Let's give away some tickets, Sammy. We got a pair of tickets to go see Zach Bryan, a concert that will surely be sold out at Snapdragon Stadium coming up on July 31st. If you want those tickets to maybe put under the tree, call right now, 877-767-4760. What are we? Are we 5-6 days away from Christmas right now? 6 days away from Christmas? Caller number 6. You're going to the Zach Bryan Show. San Diego Sports 760. You're listening live on the iHeartRadio app.
The sport sponsored by Valley View Casino and Hotel. Big news of the day locally. Michael King back with the San Diego Padres on a 3-year, $75 million contract. Each year is a player opt-out, so essentially a 1-year, $25 million deal. Aztecs back tomorrow night. Hear the game right here on San Diego Sports 760 at 7:30 with Schaefer on the call. Fletcher gets you the pregame starting at 6:30, taking on Arizona out there in the desert. Wildcats are currently 14.5-point favorites, and Jake Paul, Anthony Joshua fight tonight in Miami. Jake Paul is currently a 7-1 underdog, but apparently the sportsbooks DraftKings has said they are liable to lose $100 million if Jake Paul pulls the upset tonight. Be the 3C's MVP this month at Valley View Casino and Hotel. On December 26th, one lucky winner will score cash, and more cash, or a spin for $100,000 during the 3C's giveaway. Only in San Diego's favorite casino.
Here at San Diego Sports 760 and iHeartRadio, we like to give money to teachers. That's what we like to do.
Hell yeah.
And teachers spend a lot of their own money every single year to decorate their classrooms, to make it the best environment as possible for the children, the kiddos. Well, right now you have an opportunity to nominate your favorite teacher or one of your kids' favorite teachers at iHeartRadio.com/teachers to win $5,000. $5,000 could go to a teacher in one of your local schools here in San Diego. So get on over to iHeartRadio.com/teachers, powered by Donors Choose. All right, Steve Hartman joins us every single week at 1:30. This is his time slot. Steve takes over the show, and that's great. That's dandy. Last week, Steve had some pretty heavy words about one Philip Rivers coming out on the field. Actually, Steve said there was no shot he would come out onto the field. Steve, your reaction to Philip Rivers? I thought he played pretty well.
Well, I will say this. Yes. I mean, obviously he played okay, played phenomenal for someone that has been, literally the previous Sunday sitting on the couch. I don't know if it's as much about Philip as it is about the league itself, that he's able to literally step off the couch with a couple of days of warming up his arm and actually playing some competitive football out there. I was stunned that the defense did not come after him. I was, I don't know what to say, but absolutely 100%, I am giving credit to Philip Rivers. I'm anxious now to understand whether or not there's a possibility that since the Chiefs now need a quarterback, whether or not they're going to go after Philip Rivers. I would love to see Philip Rivers in a Kansas City Chiefs uniform.
How about that? A free agency signing?
We have no one with an ACL, LC. I mean, Mahomes could be out for quite a while, and I think that now Mahomes is gone and Rivers is in KC. I think it's a natural fit.
That's a great idea, Steve. In fact, I'll take it one step further. I think the Chiefs should just go ahead and trade Patrick Mahomes to the Colts and then get Philip Rivers in exchange. I think that'd be a good fit. All right, Steve, neither here nor there. We can get off of that. But seriously, did you see Ryan Fitzpatrick's take on Philip Rivers? He said he thinks he was just trying to reset the health insurance because of all the kids that he has, and it'll give him another 6 years on the health insurance, which was very, very funny. All right, Steve, college football playoff gets going today. Do you like the field? Do you have any big opinions about Tulane and James Madison being in over Notre Dame?
Well, first of all, the Notre Dame situation had nothing to do with James Madison. I mean, the rules were very simple. When Duke won the ACC with 5 losses, that was it. I mean, James Madison was going to be in. The rules state, obviously, that the top 5 ranked conference champions would get in. And so that's how you have both Tulane and James Madison in. Of course, every year now we've had 2 rules changes because of what happened this year. Rule change number 1, Power 4 conferences, the top 4 conferences, ACC, Big 10, SEC, and the Big 12, automatically their conference champion is in starting next year. The second rule change, no surprise here. If Notre Dame is ranked in the top 12, of course they were ranked 11th this year, automatically they will be in this playoff. So from the get-go, expanding this playoff was not well thought out. We had the dilemma last year of having buys for Boise State and Arizona State because only conference champions could get a bye. They changed the rule this year, so you have the top 4 ranked teams getting a bye. So it's a work in progress, and there's a lot more to come, guys. Eventually, they're going to expand this. We're going to see, the LA Bowl just was laid to rest. Other bowl games are going to go by the wayside. So what you're going to see is an expansion of the tournament. You're going to see the complete demise of all these other bowl games because no one wants to play in them anymore because they're more concerned about the transfer portal. So we are seeing some huge changes in the entire format of college football.
Steve, do you see a Indiana-Ohio State rematch, or do you think someone else sneaks in there?
That's a great question. I mean, let's face it. When we watched that Indiana-Ohio State game, it was not a great game. I mean, certainly, as you know, I did vote for Mendoza for the Heisman. It was interesting too because had Indiana won that game,
Steve Hartman has a Heisman vote.
I don't like to share that, but I'm sharing it exclusively with you guys today. In fact, I'm not mentioning right now this to any other radio show other than yours, guys.
Well, thank you,
but
Steve.
Indeed, here's the thing. Had Indiana lost that game, I believe Pavia would have won the Heisman Trophy. Now, of course, he made a complete ass of himself at the Heisman ceremony. And of course, at about 5'9", I love how they list this guy at 6 feet tall. At 5'9", he had very little chance of being even a late round draft pick. But after his antics at the Heisman, you can 100% guarantee that Diego Pavia will not get drafted coming up in the draft.
Now, Steve, I'm sure you remember you were here in San Diego when Ian Kinsler flipped the bird to all the San Diego Padre fans in attendance at Petco Park and shouted out "F you all." That's kind of what Pavia did. And you were part of the people that he said F you to. He said F them all, talking about Heisman voters, which would include you and John Schaefer. Do you feel honored for that?
Yes. Well, I that's fine. By the way, if you watch the actual show, the one as they had the former Heisman winners out there, the one guy he just absolutely gushed over, obviously, was Johnny Football, Johnny Manziel. Like somehow he feels like he's Johnny Manziel. He's not Johnny Manziel, but that was the one guy he could identify with. But, I mean, look, I go back to the Heisman ceremony back in 1997 when Randy Moss was one of the finalists and wore sunglasses throughout the entire ceremony. And I can remember a lot of people, including yours truly. I was just starting in TV as we're coming up on the 98 draft. And I said, this guy did himself no favors by his, silence or antics or, wearing sunglasses during the actual Heisman presentation, sitting next to Ryan Lee, Peyton Manning, and Charles Woodson. And what happened? The guy was the most talented player in the draft, and he dropped well down into the first round. Of course, the Vikings were the lucky ones to pick him. So, these are the kind of things where I don't know how many people watch Vanderbilt football this year, but a lot of people watched that Heisman ceremony and walked away saying, what's up with this jackass? I mean, why is he behaving this way when he's a marginal at his size draft pick to begin with? So, yeah, he didn't do himself any favors.
Looking at that game last night, Seattle, beats the Rams in the Thriller. Do you see those two as the best two teams in the NFC, or do you think someone else?
Well, on my national show on Sundays, we do a Power 5 after the morning games are played, and I had those two as the top two teams in the NFL. By the way, again, that 2-point conversion, that did not cost the Rams the game because obviously the game would go to overtime. The field goal kicker missed a field goal and everything else. The league the whistle was blown on the play. You understand on that 2-point conversion that the whistle was blown before Charbonnet picked up the ball in the end zone? The play is dead. Once the whistle is blown, and this is, was so listening to McVay afterwards, he didn't want to say anything cross against the officials. He just said, I've never been in a game where we're lining up to kick off the football when they say, wait a second, we got to take a look at that previous 2-point play. But as soon as the whistle blows, guys, there is no review after that. Anything that happened after the whistle is a moot point. And you can, if you watch the replay, you can hear the whistle blow right after the throw hits the helmet and goes to the ground. So I have no idea what the officials are doing. Maybe they were reacting to Puka Nakua's rap on the officials, whatever. But that was just horrendous that they would reverse that call when the whistle clearly blew the play dead.
I do agree with you.
They actually picked up the ball.
Steve, I get what you're saying, but it ended up being the right call. Like, it was a backwards pass. That is a fumble.
That's irrelevant. Understand it.
No, I get it, Steve. But what's the alternative?
The call once the whistle is blown.
Absolutely, but what's the alternative? Because that's the ref's fault. So do they then need to redo the 2-point conversion?
Well, I mean, I maybe so, but I mean, the bottom line is the whistle officially blew the play dead. As when the ball hit the ground, it was a fumble. There was no recovery of the ball at that point when the whistle blew. It was a dead ball. Sure. I mean, the idea of awarding 2 points to Seattle, it was wrong. I mean, you could replay the play or whatever, but the bottom line was, yes, it was a lateral pass. I'm not denying that. But once the whistle blows, which it did as soon as it hit the ground, well before the ball ended up in the end zone for Charbonnet to recover, that's irrelevant. The whistle blew on the play.
All right, Steve, we got a couple minutes left here. We need your Christmas advice for anybody out there who's looking to hear from the sage, the effervescent Steve Hartman, to give us some advice for what's coming up next week.
Okay, well, this is a very key. Now, I'm going to go back in time, okay?
Sure.
It's a lot different now for me, Christmas. I don't have grandkids yet. I don't have anything like that. So pretty much I just, you guys buy your own gifts and I'm okay with that. That's the way I operate. But your significant other is such a key. And, it's hard to tell, honestly, where Sammy's going with his significant other because, there's so many options for him right now. That's ridiculous. When you're playing the field at the level he is,
Steve.
See, here's the problem for you, Sammy. You see, you got Fletch, he's got Kendall, and they're solid couple, and they know how to react to each other. But when you're juggling as many girls as you are right now, Sammy, you better be careful. You can't give one a gift and another not a gift. That could be suicide, man. So you've got to be really careful if you're one of those guys like you playing the field.
You should have seen it, Steve.
Careful.
We were doing the Rady Children's Give-a-thon. We had the super emotionally charged interview with Laura Kane. And then all of a sudden, the tone shifted, and Laura was hitting on Sammy. Like, she was ready to take Sammy on a date and teach him the world.
Well, but he's got to be careful with this, Fletch. This is the whole thing. It becomes addictive. There was a time a long time ago where, I was a very single guy, and I understand. And then suddenly you have women, because they get a sniff of the other, that's how women react.
Sure.
And Sammy's got a lot of sniffs on him right now. So the women are just flocking. It's that situation. But I'm telling you, Sammy, you're playing with fire right now, and you better be careful. My advice to you is do not give any of them anything.
Nothing. Presents.
That's what I was going with.
Presents.
So that's
nothing. You give your mom and dad a nice gift. Other relatives. Those people.
Only blood related.
Give Fletch something. I don't know. You should give your partner something, I guess.
Sammy, you should give me something. Yeah. All right, Steve, we got to run. But much like Uncle Ben said to Peter Parker, with great power comes great responsibility. For Sammy, it's with great hair comes great responsibility. And so we'll see if he can keep these ladies at bay. Thank you, Steve.
And by the way, there's going to be a death in the boxing ring tonight.
Oh, I know. I can't wait.
Death in the ring.
Anthony Joshua is going down. You're right.
What
Steve.
round? What round, Steve?
When you look at the discrepancy in size, we're talking an Olympic gold medalist, 2-time heavyweight champion, and one of the most devastating hitters. He's not going to pull a punch like the 58-year-old Mike Tyson did. He's going to end this thing dramatically.
And Jake Paul will be the champion of the world. Thank you, Steve.
Okay, guys.
Merry Christmas. We love you
brother.
too. Steve Hartman. Oh, man, that's fun every week. Every week we run out of time. So San Diego Sports 760, we got to go to commercial right now. We'll wrap this thing up on the other side. San Diego Sports 760. Ben Fletcher, Sammy Long with you for a final time this week. We will be back with our normal show on Tuesday. Monday, Aztecs Hoops are going to be taking on Whittier. We have not figured out pregame for that one just yet because I think I'll be here for it. So it's San Diego Sports 760. Thank you to Steve Hartman, who joins us all the time. Thank you to Jose, who won those Zach Bryan tickets. Merry Christmas to you and your family, Jose.
Yep.
I know that was the message you wanted to share with us and our listeners. All right, we are out of here. John and Jim, I guess, have some big news coming up in just a little bit. I don't know what this is. I'm excited to hear it. We're going to see what's going on. Sammy, good week, man.
You're the best, brother. Have a good weekend watching everything.
We got a lot going on.
We ready for Jake Paul to get destroyed tonight?
Tell everybody right now, what minute does Jake Paul get knocked out in?
Oh, 5th minute, second round. Second minute of the second round.
I like it. All right, San Diego Sports 760. We'll see y'all later.